I think tonight, especially with all the energy behind this event and the break that the race teams will have, at least most of them on the late model stock side afterwards, I think we're in store for a similar type of racing product.
I think we are. And again, you think of so many of those names that are battling for that win, that were up front in the top 5, trying to duke it out. The likes of Connor Hall, Jared Fryer, who's a multi-time winner here in the Cars Tour at Caraway Speedway, going to be duking it out for that one. But also the pros, a very healthy field of pro late models, a lot of very competitive teams, a bunch of teams that are coming out for the first time, maybe experimenting a little bit, bringing some new race cars, some pro late models out here to enjoy what has been a little bit of time off. Again, it's almost hard to imagine. It's been since North Wilkesboro Speedway that we last saw the pro late models back in action.
And that's not the only bit of on-track activity we're going to have for you today. Let's take a look at our rundown. Pro late model qualifying coming up shortly, late model stocks to follow. Then we'll lead into our pre-race ceremonies. We've got bandoleros on the property, including many names that's had success at Summer Shootout already in 2025. The same can be said for the Legend cars that will go for 25 laps. We'll then introduce you to our Z-Max Cars Tour field presented by Sound Gear. The pros will kick things off at 100 laps, and the late model stocks will be the nightcap with the 125 lapper. See many of the drivers already making their way to their cars, with pro late model qualifying being the first on the docket. We mentioned the weather, and if you've been following the radar in this quadrant of the Carolinas and the country, further out east, they've been getting rained on all day long. For us, however, we've had 3 separate rain showers come across this property over the course of the last 16 hours or so. Right now, it is warm, it is humid, but good for us, blue skies are still clearly visible, and thankfully for now, the radar looks relatively clear.
And one thing that's a little bit different with this racetrack, and I'm sure we'll talk about it a lot throughout the night, Eric, in terms of how it changes the racing here tonight, but one thing that has come into play with the fact that the apron here at Caraway Speedway was paved over the off-season and the curbing was taken out, it's allowed some of that drainage to work more in the track's favor because, again, multiple times we've had rain showers throughout the day, but it looks like the track is ready to go.
Track was built in 1966, initially as a dirt oval. It was paved in 1972, but this just under a half-mile layout with variable banking on each side of the racetrack, 7 degrees on the straightaways, just seems to be the perfect recipe that no matter what type of car you put on this racetrack, you are guaranteed to have yourselves a show, and I think we've got that for all 4 on-track contests that we are going to see tonight. Now, we mentioned the pro late models having a bit of time off for a breather. They're approaching the halfway point in their season. This will be round number 6 of 13 for the pros, with a makeup race at Hickory on the docket for not this weekend, but the week after. Let's look at the championship standings coming into this race, and it is tight at the top with Ben Mayer, the current points leader.
That it is, and again, that's why this division has been so compelling all throughout the year. And again, you got to think about these point margins that are in the 9, 13, 16 point level. Again, with these pros, those come in increments. You have to make those up little by little each and every race. And of course, we have some really talented race car drivers that have been getting consistent finishes, winning races. Ben Mayer and Dylan Garner, they're up at the top of the point standings. So is Keelan Harvick, but yet they're still looking for their first trip to Cookout Victory Lane in 2025.
So much stories to be following all across the board. We mentioned James Pike, the 3rd member of our broadcast team. Let's welcome him. He's standing by trackside.
Good afternoon, maybe evening. We're getting close to it, Blake and Eric, down here on pit road at Caraway Speedway, where you all touched on it just a moment ago. The weather here has been very temperamental over the course of the day. Multiple rain showers that caused us to lose the track and have to redrive the track a few times. However, Caraway, for the age of the pavement, actually dries pretty quickly. That's one thing that I think surprised a lot of us up in the tower and a lot of the folks down on pit road. So I figured with all the weather changes that we've had, I'd bring my little thermometer here to see what the surface temp is on the concrete and the asphalt. So we'll go ahead and turn it on here and go full Parker Kligerman style. And the temperature already is starting to drop. I got to read about 15 minutes ago, and it was ballpark 105 degrees Fahrenheit. Here in the concrete, it's 94, 95. Now, that is going to change a little bit between concrete and pavement. The pavement, of course, is going to be a little bit warmer, but we're dealing with what I would consider to be a cooler racetrack than we normally would have for the weather we've had and for this time of year, with temperatures that are only going to drop both track temp and ambient temp over the course of the evening. What does that mean? It means that the track is going to have more grip. It's that these cars are going to to tighten up, and it means these teams are going to have to adjust the handling on these cars, especially between qualifying and the race, to try and find the most speed and end their night in Cookout Victory Lane.
Thanks, Pike. And also the teams were impacted by the inclement weather that came through. Only one practice session for late model stocks today. Many teams took advantage of some of the track open testing that was available in the early portion of the week. The pros got about a practice session and a half in before the rain came as we inch closer to the start of this qualifying session. We're going to step aside. When we come back, we will set the field. The pro late models will be the first on deck for tonight's running of the Firecracker 265 from Caraway. We'll be back for pro late model qualifying right after this.
Caraway Speedway, got a lot of know-how, money behind that car. We're certainly looking to have a podium finish at the least here at Caraway.
Welcome back to the Caraway Speedway, getting set for Mahle Pole Award qualifying for the Pro Late Model field as part of tonight's Firecracker 265 with 16 Pro Late Models on the card for tonight. And the first car out is one that is right in championship contention. First car to roll, second in championship points with 4 top 10s and 2 top 5s so far in 2025, making his 20th career Cars Tour Pro Late Model start. This is the GESI DPX F-Fit G-Sport by GESI, Dylan Garner Racing number 97 for the racer originally out of Yorba Linda, California, now calls Mooresville, North Carolina home. Dylan Garner, second in points, 9 markers behind Ben Mayer to start this session, and he gets us underway for Pro Late Model Mahle Pistons Pole Award qualifying. Now, Garner ran the race 1 year ago, started in the 14th position, but was caught up in a crash just prior to halfway, hoping for better fortunes tonight, and he sets the bar at a 17.185 the first time around. Track record for the pros with the Cars Tour, a 16.5 set by Tristan McKee 1 year ago. Garner's going to go a tick faster on lap 2. He gets it down to the 17 flat. It's a 17.015 for Garner.
And again, you'll have to think for the pros and the late model stocks that are coming out here, they're coming out on a green racetrack. There were a couple of laps turned by the Bandoleros and Legends cars, but been a couple hours before all the rubber was washed off the racetrack. As a coming around to take his second lap and his second fastest on his first time through. The number 77 EO Foundation and RaceForKids.com machine for Chad Bryant Racing out of Hometown, New York. It is Darren Krantz Jr. coming down to the start-finish line now. A brand new race car, brand new to the Pro Late models, but will immediately end up with the fastest time. Gets down into the 16.9s, a 16.973 for young Darren Krantz Jr. making his Pro Late model debut.
You see the logo right behind the numbers on this 54 car. This is one of the 5 finalists for the Alan Kulwicki Driver Development Program, and he has dubbed this race, just as he did at Cordele, as one of his wild cards. This is a chance for him to earn double the amount of points in the Kulwicki Cup standings and program, where he currently sits 3rd. This is the CB Partners, P&R Ammunition, A-Rod Performance, Parts and Fuels, JC Motorsports number 54. Out of Pendergrass, Georgia, Seth Christensen. His first lap is a 17.119. That puts him 3rd. This is his 4th career Cars Tour Pro Late Model start and 2nd of 2025. And he's going to pull off after that first lap, so Christensen is going to check that. Christensen goes up to the top of the board, 16.692 for Seth Christensen.
So Christensen up to the top of the charts after just 1 lap pulled in qualifying, allows another newcomer, also out of Hettinger Racing. This car was shaken down yesterday by Caden Honeycutt. Today is the man out of Alvin, Texas, Trey Burke behind the wheel. The Wings and Wheels Foundation Chevrolet. Burke 4th fastest on his first time through here at Caraway Speedway tonight, and 2nd time through. Looks like it's not going to be an improvement for that number 4 car. So a 17.171, 4th of 4 cars in the number 4.
Here's a driver trying to pull double duty tonight, and he has certainly been on a bit of a tear every time that he straps into whatever race car. Fresh off a win in the Trans Am TA2 race at Mid-Ohio a couple of weeks ago. Now back in a Pro Late model where he has gone to victory lane already this season, driving car number 7. It is the Low Country Motorsports team for the driver out of Hampton, Virginia, Tristan McKee. McKee's going to come around for the checkers. The first lap did not pick up on the timing and scoring system. Now it comes across as the fastest. In fact, his first lap is going to be best, 16.825 for defending winner of this race and defending pole sitter of this race.
And again, I think as we see that first lap, you know, a couple of drivers I talked to, whether pros or late model stocks, were kind of favoring the fact that they would like to go out early, that this green racetrack may in fact be an advantage for them, so they think, is lining up here. The number 6 Bow Marine, Honda Marine Chevrolet for Setzer Racing and Development after Chester, Maryland. So the number 6 machine is coming to the line. It'll be the 61 going to the top of the charts in this 16.771.
Next up on the racetrack, driving for Rick Ware Racing, with a sponsor that is stretched across not only the Cup program, the Chicago Street Race, but just about everything that Rick Ware fields, whether it be the Top Fuel Dragster or the World Supercross entry. This team has gone to victory lane twice so far this season with 2 different drivers. Tonight they have full-time Cup Series competitor Cody Ware behind the wheel. In the first lap for Ware, 3rd. Brother Carson won earlier this season in this entry. Luke Baldwin took the car to victory lane as well. Cody trying to follow in the footsteps of his teammates. The second lap around will take him to the top, 16.729 for Cody Ware.
And again, these times we were looking at earlier around the 16.6 to 16.5s. Don't know with the heat that this track has right now and the humidity that it has, if it would be going faster a little bit later on towards tonight. Taking the white flag now for his second lap in the number 62 Hunt Brothers Pizza machine for Rackley War. It is Keelan Harvick whose first lap will be 8th fastest of the 8 cars we've sent out thus far in a 17.138. Looks a little bit smoother here on lap number 2. Is it a pickup here for Harvick? And it is going to be up to 4th for young Keelan Harvick, 16.881.
Got a pair of 97s in tonight's field. Got a pair of Kitzmillers as well. This is the elder statesman of the Kitzmiller family, driving a Rackley War number 97 for ALL Construction Incorporated, making his 3rd start of the season and 3rd of his Cars Tour Pro Late Model career. Full-time ARCA Menard Series competitor Jason Kitzmiller. His son Isaac will be on the racetrack to round out the session for the pros in the number 25 team car. Kitzmiller's first lap, 9th of the 9 cars that have been on the racetrack so far, has 2 prior Cars Tour late model stock starts at Caraway. This will be his first attempt at Caraway in a pro, and he remains 9th of the 9 cars that have been on the racetrack so far.
Coming around to take the green flag in the Walker Motorsports entry, the Veterans of America, Furniture by Walker, and RaceShopFloors.com. Number 15 of Long Island, New York, Rodney Dallas, taken to the racetrack right now. Already has 2 starts this year at Cordeal in the Pro Late Models. And coming around to Caraway Speedway this time around, Rodney Dallas 8th fastest, a 17.002. Checkered flag in the air, and it looks like it is not going to be faster than his first offering. So Dallas, 8th fastest.
Next up in the Atlanta Paving and Concrete, number 47 for Bryson Lopez Racing out of Davidson, Nevada, Tyler Reif, who has been very busy since we last saw him in this car at Orange County. Remember Caden Honeycutt, who won the championship with the Pro Late Models in 2024, had the keys to this race car and went to victory lane at North Wilkesboro Speedway. They've given the honors back to Tyler Reif. He's got more races slated with his team, and he's trying his hand at Caraway as he comes through turns 3 and 4 to come up to the checkered flag. First time around for Reif was good enough for 5th fastest his first go around. Lap number 2 was going to be a tick slower, so Tyler Reif rounds out the top 5 as things stand.
I think this time around I'll get it right. Again, 2 very identical cars. Again, I called Ben Mayer, the Walters number 61 for Setzer Racing and Development. It's hard to see that 1 next to the 6. I suppose on this machine is, getting wide, a little bit free there out of turn number 4, but it's still fast for the man out of Chester, Maryland. Ben Mayer in the number 6, 3rd fastest at a 16.774. Identical looking race cars. They nearly match each other on the speed charts as well. Just 3/1000ths of a second off of each other. And Mayer's going to go to pole, 16.660. Your championship points leader, now sitting in control of the Molly Pistons Pole Award for now.
Looking to try to kick out that championship lead by a couple more markers, but here comes Connor Jones, another driver, double duty on the docket for him tonight. This, the family-owned race team, making his 8th career Cars Tour Pro Late Models start. And Jones, his first time around, is going to clock him in 7th. It's his 2nd Cars Tour Pro Late Model start at Caraway after starting 3rd and finishing runner-up to Tristan McKee a year ago. Slight bobble off turn 4, coming back to the checkers. And the 2nd lap for Jones is going to pick him up into the top 5. So Connor Jones to P5 with a handful of cars to go.
It doesn't matter whether we talk about the late model stocks or the pro late models. You take a look at that top 10 and how close everybody is in qualifying. Can imagine that that is going to continue with the number 24 Fab Specialties machine out of Stark, Florida. Brody Gunter making a Cars Tour Pro Late Model debut in this car. First lap through for the number 24 of Brody Gunter. You can see him slotting into 8th right now, 16.937. Second lap's going to be a lot quicker. In fact, it's 3rd fastest for Gunter, 16.744. Gunter up almost into the front row.
2 cars to go. Ben Mayer trying to hang on to a Molly Pistons Pole Award. Here's one of the full-timers. 5th in championship points, making his 18th career Cars Tour start, and 2nd at Caraway with the pros. The Atlanta Paving and Concrete Sundance Equipment Sales number 6 out of Woodstock, Georgia. The Bryson Lopez team, Brandon Lopez, P9 on lap 1. Started 11th and finished 13th in this race a year ago. Since we last saw him at North Wilkesboro with the Tour, where he finished top 10, started on the pole and finished 2nd in the Carolina Pro Race at Hickory, and raced down in Five Flag Speedway mid-June as well. Lap 2 is going to be a tick slower. Lopez to 9th with 1 car left to go.
And it's a fast one that we've seen in 2025. We mentioned a trio of Kitzmillers and our pair of Kitzmillers and a trio of Rackley War entries. This is the 3rd in the ALL Construction. Number 25 out of Petersburg, West Virginia. Son to Jason Kitzmiller. It is Isaac Kitzmiller taken to the racetrack. First lap for the 25 of Kitzmiller is going to clock in what we think right now is 15th fastest. Off of turn number 4, Kitzmiller's 2nd offering. We'll see what timing and scoring does to refresh it. And it's going to be 5th fastest for Isaac Kitzmiller, 16.809, but nothing to worry about for Ben Mayer, fastest of the bunch and the winner of the Vale Pistons Pole Award.
Second pole of the season and second pole of his career. With the Setzer Racing and Development team, Ben Mayer will lead the field down for green. The championship points lead just got a little bit bigger with his second pole of the season, starting alongside Cup Series regular Cody Ware, Brody Gunter third, Mason Walters fourth, Isaac Kitzmiller. Your top 5 for the pros. For the second time this season, Ben Mayer is with Pike as a pole sitter with the Cars Tour Pro Late Models.
And as a winner of the Vale Pistons Pole Award is Ben Mayer for Setzer Racing and Development. Ben, you all have had a little bit of a reset, a little bit of a break off. Has that allowed you to sort of assess, gather where you started this season and figure out what you needed to make the jump and try and get into Cookout Victory Lane?
Definitely. There was a lot of prep work that went on, and really glad that all that happened. I think it all paid off. We've been really fast all year, been able to get a few poles. And I think we just need to put a race together, so hopefully we can get that done tonight.
Finding his feet quickly, primarily a karter, a road racer by trade coming into this ride, but this is one of the most storied machines on the Pro Late Model side of the Z-Max Cars Tour presented by Sound Gear. Tonight, Ben Mayer with Setzer Racing and Development will lead the field to green here at Caraway.
Thanks, Pike. What an unbelievable story for Ben Mayer. Fresh off what was his NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series debut for Young's Motorsports at Lime Rock Park. They battled electrical issues pretty much all race long. At each of the controlled stops, had to start at the rear of the field, raced his way up into 18th when all was said and done, completing all the laps, and shift his focus back to the task at hand with the Pro Late Models in the Cars Tour to win his second pole of 2025. Still looking for that first win, but he has won with this car and team before. His first ever start with this team and first ever start in a Pro Late Model at Cordeal at Speedfest. Won that race, leading 3 laps en route to victory. Tonight could be the night with the stars aligned for Ben Mayer, and he will lead the field down for green for the 100-lapper later on this evening.
And again, you got a NASCAR Cup Series driver starting on the outside of the front row along with you. No pressure there, right? And again, you look third on back, 3rd through 8th, hardly separated by a 1/10 of a second. In fact, they're not separated by a 1/10 of a second. 3rd through 8th. 3rd through 7th, I should say. Very, very competitive. You could see Keelan Harvick right there, I'm sure, looking at the full running order as well and getting an understanding of what it's going to take here tonight. It's a very, very tight and competitive field.
Keelan going to be celebrating a birthday coming up next Tuesday. See Ron Hornaday Jr., NASCAR Hall of Famer there in the background, also offering up any bits of advice that could be available for the young man as he gets set to do battle at a racetrack that, as you said, could be very tough. But luckily for Keelan, he's had success here before in a Legend car. He won the Legend portion of this race just 1 year ago. As we get set now to roll out the late model stocks to set the field for their portion of tonight's Firecracker 265.
And first one out, again, we've seen this number 12 car a couple of times in the past. We saw it with Jonathan Schaefer at North Wilkesboro Speedway a couple of weeks ago. But how about behind the wheel of the number 12 here tonight, Trevor Ward, who is often running with his own race team and has done so many a times here at Caraway, moving on over to the Nelson Motorsports stable, at least for tonight. And I think this is a combination that everybody in the garage area is very interested to see how it pans out for somebody who has so much experience and expertise at this racetrack. Again, had a strong run going in the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson 200 this past weekend before ending up in a crash and turning right back around very quickly along with many of these teams as Trevor Ward is 16.769, going to be the first time put up for Thunder Road Harley-Davidson Pole Award qualifying.
Next up, a driver who has certainly not had the results to match the pace so far in 2025. This is his 51st career start and 6th at Caraway with the Tour. Best finish was 10th back in June of 2023. In the ABC Hosiery and Apparel, TG Motorsports #1 for the driver out of Youngsville, North Carolina, Andrew Grady, who skipped the trip to Dominion Raceway, was running very well at Langley before being swept up in an early crash. Now coming back to Caraway, a place he knows very well. In fact, he has completed 91% of the potential laps that he has turned in his 5 prior races at this venue. He sits second of the 2 cars that have been out so far.
And again, we talked about earlier going out early and qualifying. We don't know exactly how this is going to pan out, but you can see a little bit of cloud cover right now benefiting some of these drivers that go out early. We'll see if it lingers around, but certainly may help the driver, the number 4 for Hettinger Racing out of Mooresville, North Carolina. This is Donovan Strauss, whose first lap is going to clock in 3rd fastest of this bunch. Got to catch up with a pair of the Hettinger Racing drivers quite earlier today. And again, a stark reminder for many of these drivers and teams that were at South Boston this past weekend. Got to be up on it when you come to these Cars Tour races, 125 laps. And Strauss improves to 2nd fastest at a 16.913.
Bit of a new look for one of our Cars Tour late model stock veterans in the Tom Usry Racing, Win Site Development, Fanville Heating and Air Conditioning, and Butler Built Seats number 17. 2024 Snowball Derby champion and full-time competitor in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series out of Aledo, Texas. Caden Honeycutt, winner here on a pro late model in the fall of 2023. He's got quite the resume here as well at Caraway. His first lap comes across 2nd quickest. Going to see if he can pick up a little bit more. Needs less than 1/10 of a second to overtake Trevor Ward at the top. Off of turn number 4, Honeycutt to the line. He is going to clock in, still 2nd quickest, got a little bit faster, and we'll toss it down to James Pike.
This race, Eric, brings out a slightly different crowd so far as drivers are concerned. One of them, the 2023 track champion in modifieds at Bowman Gray Stadium, Brandon Ward, racing for KP Speed Motorsports. Brandon, you've run a lot here in a modified. What's the experience been like in a late model?
Well, it's fun to get back in one of these full-body late model stock cars, and it's been since 2012 since I drove one until we tested here and actually got to come to this race. So just thanks to Kevin Powell and all these KP Speed Motorsports guys for giving me the opportunity to drive this thing, and it's been a lot of fun so far. Hopefully we'll get a good qualifying run and get a good starting spot tonight and be able to salvage a good run tonight, our first race back with a late model.
Thanks, Pike. We just saw Max Reeves, who just got his big win on the ARCA Menard Series Tour, clock himself in 3rd fastest. He was a driver making his Cars Tour late model stock debut. He's 2nd in limited late model points here at Caraway with several victories. Driving the Cornerstone Plastics Incorporated and Woodall Mechanical number 15 out of Asheboro, North Carolina, in the T151 Incorporated number 15, although the numbers on the side and top of the car are 151. A warm welcome to Grant Davidson, making his Cars Tour debut, and he will clock in 5th fastest, his 2nd time around.
Next car out on the racetrack, one of just a couple that are out here tonight amongst the pro late model and late model stock car field that are making a debut in the ZMAX Cars Tour. Out of Smithsburg, Maryland, in the Vetable Technologies Chevrolet, the number 66 tonight is driven by Zach Wells, whose first lap is going to clock in at a 17.495. Primarily a competitor recently at Hickory Motor Speedway and Florence Motor Speedway, as his 2nd lap will come on through, and he'll find a little more than 1/10 of a second on lap 2, but Wells' 7th fastest improves into the 17.3s.
Here's a driver who has been fast pretty much the entire day. The lone practice session that took place earlier today, she was atop the scoring charts. Driving the Folsom Fence Supply 03 out of Jackson, Georgia for Lee Pulliam Performance, Lainey Bice, fresh off her 2nd top 5 effort of 2025 at Dominion. And the first time around for Bice is going to be 7th quickest the first go of it. Needs a good pickup here on lap 2 to try to leapfrog up towards the top of the charts. Ran both races here back in 2023. Bice comes across and will pick up a little bit of speed, but not enough to get up to the top 5. Bice 6th.
Down into turns 1 and 2, the driver, the number 2, Crossroads Harley Davidson, IBCI, and Josh Sellers Chevrolet for the Carroll Speed Shop out of Oak Ridge, North Carolina. It is Brandon Pierce behind the wheel, making his 7th start in the ZMAX Cars Tour at Caraway, of which he has run every single race in this series up to this point. First lap's going to put him 8th, and in fact ties the lap that Andrew Grady was able to lay down just a little bit earlier. Finally got a result he felt like he deserved at South Boston Speedway this past weekend, running in the top 10, and this effort will put him into the top 5 for now. 5th fastest on the dot for Brandon Pierce at a 16.919.
The second Lee Pulliam Performance entry in tonight's field, driving the Jones Toyota and Air Doug number 88 out of Forest Hill, Maryland. Doug Barnes Jr. making his 14th career start with the Tour, but first at Caraway. First lap for Doug Barnes Jr., 9th of the 10 cars that have been out so far with a 17.086. Kind of putting a bit of an exclamation point on the early flyer laid down by Trevor Ward. He remains untouched at the top of the pylon, with Barnes trying to pick it up here on lap 2. Second lap for Barnes will move up to 6th.
And again, you can already see how tight it is around the top 5, and yet we have plenty of cars still sitting on pit road left to go out, as it is still cloudy here at Caraway Speedway. Coming around to take the white flag, complete his first lap with another 71 Southern Bank and Vet Adventures Chevrolet. Out of Wilson, North Carolina, it is Parker Eatman, whose first lap goes 10th fastest in his first effort, is 17.222 for Parker Eatman. 14th career start. It's his first at this racetrack with the series. And Eatman's second lap is going to be a big pickup. In fact, right into the top 5. 2 1,000ths off of his teammate, 5th fastest for Parker Eatman.
Here's a driver we heard from earlier, and he is no stranger to Caraway, no stranger to any type of race vehicle, but maybe a bit of a stranger to the Cars Tour. This is his Cars Tour late model stock debut for the multi-time winner across what was then the Pro Cup Tour, driving the KP Speed Motorsports entry. KevinSaysYes.com and Bilstein Shocks number 12 from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Brandon Ward, he has won the last 2 Smart Modified Tour races at Caraway. Going to look for a 3rd in a row come Saturday, but we'll see what he can do tonight for this team. Checkered flag for Brandon Ward. He will be 11th, but that will certainly be one of the cars and drivers to watch tonight. Let's go down to Pike.
Another one of the Bowman Gray contingent here, Dylan Ward, who's got plenty of experience there and here at Caraway. To stack up against this field, how big is this an opportunity for you tonight?
I think we're going to have a pretty good car today. I didn't really get enough time to test, and it definitely shows that my brother's got speed right now, so let's see if I can pull something. Hopefully I can not overdrive it and have a lot better piece than I had Monday, but I think I got a good car for tonight, and I definitely got a good car for the race. I just don't know how this qualifying's going to work out. It's just so tight, and everybody in the field. But, I guess I'm going to get the qualifying right now.
Lots of opportunities tonight here for Dylan Ward.
So Landon Huffman just gets off the racetrack. He goes 4th fastest as we welcome Langley Speedway winner in the Cars Tour in the 00 Medic Corp Toyota out of King Williams, Virginia. Chase Burrow recently added himself to the list of names that have won Cars Tour races in his first lap, going 12th fastest. Again, the second time that Andrew Grady has been tied on the speed charts already. It is that type of night out here in Cars Tour qualifying. Second lap is going to be good enough to put that 00 up into the top 10. Chase Burrow, 9th fastest at a 16.929.
Next up, a driver who has been on a bit of a roll on the Cars Tour side, off of not only back-to-back, but his only 2 top 5 finishes so far in 2025 that came at Langley and Dominion, where he was in the battle for the lead. The Aaron Sales and Lease McCumbee Elliott Racing number 16 for Chad McCumbee out of Supply, North Carolina. Since we last saw him in Cars Tour competition, he was runner-up in the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge race at Watkins Glen. Now coming back to the tight confines of Caraway Speedway, and his second lap will bump him up into the top 5. 4th for Chad McCumbee in the 16.
I mean, you could just look at that scoring pylon right now and just look at 6 to 10. I mean, that's just the 16 1,000ths of a second just within the back half of the top 10. And one driver looking to break his way into that, and perhaps a little bit better, is the man out of Fredericksburg, Virginia, the Jones Utility Chevrolet from Mike Dart Racing, driven by young Connor Jones in the number 44. And like many drivers, we have seen that second lap be the one that they are aiming to try and run quickly with. We'll get a time here for Connor Jones in just a moment as he completes his first, now his second lap on the speed chart. Second lap is going to be better and just shy of a top 5 effort. 6th fastest for Connor Jones.
Here's the driver who holds the Cars Tour late model stock track record at this speedway. It was a 16.597 set back in 2022. Fresh off the victory in the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson 200 at South Boston. Current points leader, driving the Bass Pro Shops, Roto-Rooter, and Sundrop 88 for Junior Motorsports, Connor Hall from Hampton, Virginia. First lap puts him 16th, flirts with the outside retaining wall off turn 2, and he is looking for one of those monster pickups to see if he could do what Ben Mayer did, and that's win the pole as a points leader on the night. Second time around for Connor Hall is going to pick it up, but not a lot. 13th for Connor Hall, and the driver chasing him in the points is on the track now.
I was about to say, what an opportunity that might be available here for drivers that have gone back and forth the last couple of races in the championship standings. In the MMI Chevrolet for Kevin Harvick Incorporated, it is Landon Lewis now taking to the start-finish line, and first lap is going to be, wouldn't you know it, 3 1/1000ths better than what Connor Hall was able to put down. 13th fastest for Landon Lewis, but I'm sure looking for a lot more off of turn number 4. Second lap looks smooth to the start-finish line. Landon Lewis, where does he go? Up to 4th for Landon Lewis in the number 29, 16.837, the new lap of record.
Here's a driver the odds makers are certainly putting up towards the top as far as a contender for a win tonight and what would be his first ever multi-win season for the 2020 Cars Tour Late Model Stock Champ. Two-time winner here, 53rd start, and he started a ball at Caraway, a place that he knows and loves very well. This is the Eatman Mobile Movers, Jimmy Moore in racing number 14 for the driver out of Trinity, North Carolina, and winner already this season at Orange County Speedway, Jared Fryer, coming around to complete his second lap. Fryer to the line, checkered flag, and he got close outside of the front row for Jared Fryer, 45 thousandths of a second off Trevor Ward.
So Fryer moves up into the front row, and I know we were having an interview earlier, but wanted to give a mention to Max Reeves, whose lap at least has held on right now to keep that number 18 car in the top 5. But here's somebody who's capable of running on the front row and qualifying. In fact, he did it a couple of years ago here at this racetrack and Cars Tour competition in 2021 out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, the DeWalt Performance Machine of Dylan Ward, a multi-time winner in this region at this racetrack, including at Bowman Gray Stadium. Second effort across for Ward in the number 7 is going to net a 15th place starting spot for now, 16.955.
The driver who sits 6th in championship points with a pair of top 5s and 4 top 10s on the season, making his 40th career Cars Tour Late Model Stock start. In the Best of Tire and Auto, Affordable Heating and Air, Buddy Scoops and Rex Younger Galleries, 04 out of Lexington, North Carolina. Ronnie Bassett Jr. coming fresh off a 6th place effort at the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson 200 at South Boston, looking for a strong start tonight as he wrestles that car off turn 4 to come to the checkers. Bassett is going to move up to 6th on his second lap, and right now the top 6 cars separated by less than a 1/10 of a second with a heavy hitter on track.
I was about to say, how many times have we talked about momentum in the Cars Tour in 2025? This driver is riding high with all of it. In the Convenience Tire and Auto, BDL Motorsports, and Victoria Swimwear and Toyota, the most recent winner on the tour, who led every lap at Dominion a couple of weeks ago. Minnie Tyrell in the number 81, looking to clock in faster than his first lap, which was 17th, but just as much of a 1/10 of a second would put him up into the top 10. Minnie Tyrell, second lap through, is going to be a pickup for Minnie Tyrell. Second fastest for Minnie Tyrell as it comes across. 13 1/1000ths of a second shy of the pole. Minnie Tyrell to the front row yet again.
Trevor Ward has got to hold his breath while he watches the team car. Rookie Carson Lofton, all of his prior Caraway experience has been in a modified. Now he's going to try to knock his teammate off the pole. Carson Lofton in the Autos by Nelson, an L&R transmission entry for the multi-time championship winning race team, Nelson Motorsports, trying to make it an all-Nelson front row if he can. Lofton, who was 21st on lap number 1, second time around for Carson Lofton, picks it up to 18th on the grid with just a few cars left to go for Trevor Ward to dodge.
And we talked about championship competitors trying to make a stand This is an effort here for Cade Brown that is so important when it comes to this championship battle. 26 points back. It's been consistency, but for Cade Brown, he's had to overcome some track position here in 2025, and that's a good opening lap there for the young man out of Fulshear, Texas. 14th fastest for Cade Brown. Again, he finds a couple hundredths. His night gets so much easier if he can get up into the top 5. Looks like a smooth lap on lap number 2. Cade Brown up to 4th for Cade Brown. What a lap and what an effort there. That's going to go a long way for him in this championship fight.
3 consecutive top 5 finishes the last 3 times. Big slide there for the driver in the number 7. Almost caught the wall off turn number 2. This is Tristan McKee running double duty tonight. Back in a late model stock car for Matt Piercy Racing. Might have paid a little bit of a price there on that first lap for McKee, who had that big power slide off turn 2, and he is 25th of the 25 cars that have been on the racetrack so far. Not sure he's going to be able to jump far enough up to threaten Trevor Ward for the pole, but here comes McKee trying to better his starting position, and as he comes to the line, he'll pick it up 3 spots, 23rd for McKee.
And just one more bullet to dodge for Trevor Ward to win the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson Pole Award. And the person he's going to have to try and dodge it from knows this place perhaps better than anybody. Lives just 5 minutes up the road in nearby Randleman, North Carolina, in the Mid-Carolina Landscaping Machine. It is Ryan Wilson, whose first lap through here tonight is going to put that car 25th fastest. They've been thrashing away on this car the last several days. He was so very complimentary of his team and the work they've done to improve this car. He is going to be able to improve on lap number 2, but not enough to unseat Trevor Ward at the top of the charts.
Second career pole for Trevor Ward in the Cars Tour in the late model stock cars. He won the pole here back in 2022, led 95 laps, but faded to 13 towards the end of that contest. And after winning the Valley Star Credit Union 300 a few years ago at Martinsville, he stated several times the next item to check off the list in his racing resume is a Cars Tour win. He just got one step closer to that tonight as he will lead the field down for green for our 125 lapper with our most recent winner, Minnie Tyrell, starting alongside. Jared Fryer looking for his 3rd win at the Speedway and 2nd win at 2025. In a part-time slate 3rd, Cade Brown trying to get back up in the championship mix will start 4th. Caden Honeycutt, your top 5. As far as the championship contenders, Landon Lewis 7th. Connor Hall will start back in 20th. What a story going into tonight's highly contested event at Caraway Speedway.
And again, when Trevor Ward laid down that lap, he was the first car out in qualifying. It was a 16.7, knew it was going to be a good lap, but man, did it stand the test of time. And again, you talk about Trevor didn't have the luck he wanted at South Boston Speedway, comes out here with a brand new race team. Trevor is as hands-on of a race car driver as you're ever going to find in the pit area. And he has figured it out here tonight with Nelson Motorsports. He's standing by with our very own James Pike, winner of the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson Pole Award.
A big-time pole for a big-time driver in the late models here in the Z-Max Car Store presented by Sound Gear. Trevor, this deal came about pretty quickly. This is one of the best cars in this field, one of the most historic teams in this field and accomplished teams in this field. How big of an opportunity is this for you, especially now that you have the track position?
Well, I got to give it out to the good Lord. He's blessed me a lot over the last few years to be able to have some success. But this is a tough field of cars. I got to thank Barry Nelson for believing in me and giving me an opportunity here. Forrest Reynolds, he's pushed me to be better each and every year. Just all my guys that's been a part of this thing. Matthew did a phenomenal job working with me all weekend, and I didn't know how it was going to turn out for us, but if we can come out of here with a good run right here, it'll be a blessing in disguise.
And worth noting, Eric, I know you brought it up just a few moments ago, but when Trevor won the Valley Star Credit Union 300 a few years ago, he beat to the line a Nelson Motorsports car. So a bit of a role reversal here tonight, but the aim is the same for Trevor Ward. Put it in Cookout Victory Lane.
Thanks, Pike. Certainly a bit of irony there as Trevor Ward will celebrate with the trophy in hand as we now inch closer to the start of our on-track activity here at Caraway. Trevor Ward, for the second time in his Cars Tour career, will lead us down for green when the late model stocks hit the track. We're going to step aside when we come back. More from Caraway Speedway. It's the Firecracker 265.